Governor Jesse Ventura compares today's attack, as so many have so far today, to the bombing of Pearl Harbor, maybe much worse. He is lining up with other leaders, vowing to help keep America safe, but he says the best way for Minnesotans to stay safe is to stay calm. Pat Kessler picks up our team coverage live in St. Paul.
Don, I'm coming to you from the Emergency Operations Center, activated by the Public Safety Commissioner just moments after news of the terrorist attack was learned here in Minnesota, even though they said, and including the Commissioner, Charlie Weaver, says there is no credible evidence of any trouble here in Minnesota. During the last hour, Governor Jesse Ventura talked to reporters, calling this incident the most stunning event of our lifetime.
To President Bush, I pledge support and complete confidence from the state of Minnesota and any support that we can offer. To the people of America who are hurt and have lost loved ones and family, Terry and I offer our most sincere condolences. On behalf of the people of Minnesota, I offer our prayers, and be assured that the United States of America will overcome this day.
Now, despite the terrible events of this day, the governor wanted everything to remain open as a symbol of Minnesota's resolve. For state government offices and employees, it was business as usual. Although the state's most visible landmark remained open, a security lockdown went into effect and visitors were checked. Governor Jesse Ventura compared the attack to an act of war.
What's happened today, I would equate it very much to Pearl Harbor. We've taken huge casualties and an extremely vicious, cowardly attack, but we are the United States of America. In some ways, maybe this one's worse, because at least in the Pearl Harbor situation, you knew who the enemy was.
For state government, it was business as usual. Minnesota highways remained open. State workers reported for duty. The National Guard was placed on alert, but it was not activated. State leaders opened an emergency command post, just in case.
There is absolutely no hint of any target in Minnesota.
Be awake, be aware, use all your senses, pay attention to what's going on around you.
Now, here at the Emergency Operations Center, this will be open around the clock for at least 48 hours until they know for sure that there is no trouble here in Minnesota. Staffing this Emergency Operations Center, the Red Cross, the State Patrol, the BCA, FBI, and sheriffs, and even more. There, however, is no credible threats here in Minnesota, and they've reported the state offices will remain restricted access until further notice. Reporting live from St. Paul, I'm Pat Kessler.
Today is one of those days that will remain in our collective memory, a day where we will all remember where we were, who we were with. Our team coverage continues with Kevin Berger, who talked with people today as these unforgettable memories were forming. Kevin?
It was a day when a lot of Minnesota simply shut down. As you've heard, operations at the airport and at the federal buildings ceased, and shopping malls, including the Mall of America, Ridgedale, Southdale, the Maplewood Mall, and others closed. So did River Center and the World Trade Center in St. Paul. A lot of Minnesotans stayed close to home to watch these events unfold, but some gathered in their favorite haunts. People seem to want to be near a TV and to be near to each other as they watch the horrific day unfold. At this Bryn Mawr coffee shop, some watched in anger.
I hope they catch the people, and I hope they're just brutally annihilated, because there is no justice for something like this.
Some watched in sorrow.
I'm more sad for the people that are left behind, and it's just so horrible what they're going to go through. Nightmares, like what did my mom or my family, what were they thinking on that plane when they were just about ready to hit this building? Isn't that horrible? Nightmare? Oh my God.
This native New Yorker watched in disbelief.
And I've lived through blackouts, I lived through subway strikes, I've lived through all kinds of minor things, race riots of the 60s, and this is, just sort of dumbfounding.
Scores of workers in downtown Minneapolis crowded onto buses. With multiple buildings closing, many couldn't get to the safety of home fast enough. But safety suddenly seems elusive.
We don't know what else is even going to unfold. Can you imagine we all went to bed last night to wake up to this?
The lunch crowd at Lucille's Kitchen stared at the television with stunned faces.
And you got everything from disbelief to I knew it was coming.
Just looking at it and knowing that a lot of people's lives are gone because of this.
That's all I can say is bad. How did this happen? With so many planes crashing.
Often on television, you will hear a reporter in a fit of hyperbole describe something as being a nightmare. But today, person after person that I spoke to actually used that word. And today, it seemed no exaggeration. Reporting live, I'm Kevin Berger.
The city of Minneapolis quickly mobilized its police department today, and Caroline Lowe is just back from a briefing at City Hall. Caroline?
Minneapolis officials spent the day mapping out emergency plans. They report that there were 4 bomb threats today, but things were relatively calm here, and they urge people not to overreact. Police visibility will remain very strong in the next couple of days, so you can expect to have your purse searched or your bag checked if you visit City Hall. Patrols will also be beefed up in neighborhoods. Police are concerned that there could be ethnic clashes as more is learned about the identity of the terrorists. Trucks and vans parked at curves will also be checked throughout the evening downtown. That was the case all day outside of City Hall. There was about a 40% increase in 911 calls to the Minneapolis Communications Center. Most were from people just asking questions, wanting general information. Police again urge people to be on the alert for anything suspicious and to call 911. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Caroline Lowe.
One of the first buildings to close in the Twin Cities was the Mall of America, considered by many a possible terrorist target because of the huge number of shoppers there each day. This sign on 35W told everyone the most popular tourist destination in the state was closed. Our team coverage continues with Noelle Walker outside of the Mall of America. Noelle, that parking lot you're standing in is usually full, overflowing this time of day.
Yeah, it usually is, because the Mall of America has on average about 100,000 visitors a day. Today, the only activity we've seen in this parking lot, and they're not even back there right now, are a few Metro Transit buses dropping people off, and not very many people at that. They must have gotten the news that the mall is closed, and it is closed both out of respect for the victims and out of an abundance of caution.
Go to come up here and secure the doors.
The Mall of America welcomes 100,000 people a day from around the world. Today, it's pushing them all away.
Can everybody go over to the east lot? I'm trying to see if I can go home or what.
There are barricades, police, and security officers at every entrance. The state's biggest tourist attraction closed for the day without ever opening.
This, again, is a precautionary step. We have no reason to believe that we're a target.
Once the Second World Trade Building collapsed, then they said it was closed and told us to go immediately.
At 9:30, employees and a few early shoppers evacuated the mall.
It's not a political building, but it's an American building.
It's very unnerving, I think, to realize that our country is, in this situation. It's very vulnerable. Yeah, very vulnerable. And what can we do?
There are no answers, but shopping seems trivial on a day like this.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the families, the victims, and the entire nation today.
Now, this is the second time this year the Mall of America has been closed. The first time was a few months ago. You might recall there was a search for a fugitive by the name of Anthony Zappa. Now, the mall closed that time at the police request. This time, this was voluntary. The mall closed on its own, again, out of an abundance of caution and out of respect for the victims. They do plan to be open tomorrow morning. Live at the Mall of America, I'm Noelle Walker.
Another beacon of Twin Cities commerce went dark today when 3,500 tenants of the IDS Center were evacuated. At 51 stories, the IDS is the tallest skyscraper on the Minneapolis skyline. And because of that, building management decided to take a cautious approach and shut down early. IDS management says that other property managers were waiting to see what IDS did, and as soon as it closed, other buildings quickly followed.
A few schools closed today. Most of them stayed open. Extra safety precautions were taken. And as Darcy Paulin shows us, no school administrators were more concerned than those in downtown Minneapolis.
I was just thinking, oh God, the world's coming to an end right now. What's going on?
Students at the Interdistrict Downtown School in Minneapolis reacted much the same way most of the country did when they saw the horrifying images unfold before their eyes.
To actually see the plane hit the building and to see the building come down and with thousands of people in it, innocent lives taken, I couldn't say nothing. I wanted to cry right there on the spot.
Safety concerns were heightened here since the school is located right in the heart of downtown.
It passed through my head a couple of times, like, what if, our building gets hit or something like that, because they was evacuating at the IDS building.
Administrators here and at most other schools plotted a similar course of action.
And we're going to have our kids in this school. We can't send kids home to homes that don't have parents in them. It just doesn't work that way.
Locked doors were closely monitored and staff was in close contact with police in the building.
Despite the safety assurances, more than 100 children from the 3 downtown schools were picked up by their parents today as a safety precaution.
Other parents felt the need to check on their kids.
I felt that they were safe. I just wanted peace of mind, so I came down here just to check.
Meantime, students tried to sort through their emotions.
I've never been through nothing like this, never seen it, don't know how to react to it.
There's a lot of things that's going to change. People aren't going to be the same. A lot of things are going to change.
That's Darcy Pollin's report. The 3 downtown schools do have different emergency evacuation measures in place. Fortunately, they were not needed today.
And given the age of the child, they will have different reactions to this tragedy. So how can you help? The president of the National Institute on Media and the Family says for all ages, it's important to acknowledge their fear while reassuring them.
To acknowledge that fear for them, not try to talk them out of it, not try to say, well, nothing like this is, to acknowledge that, yes, this really is scary, at the same time providing them a lot of reassurance, that adults will make their world safe, that adults will try to figure out how this happens so that it won't happen again.
Dr. David Walsh also advises managing media coverage according to your child's age.
The Minnesota Air National Guard base next to the airport sealed up tight as a drum on its highest state of alert tonight. Security men with M16s strapped to their backs helped search every car entering the facility today. Early this afternoon, the air base went to ThreatCon Delta. That is the highest of 4 levels of security in the military. Security used mirrors to check underneath cars for bombs, and they also searched trunks for explosives. While security has been tightened, the National Guardsmen in Minnesota have not been called up. The military, no doubt, will play some role in the bringing of the people responsible for this attack to justice. Earlier, I spoke with retired Air Force General Doyle Larson and former Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Michael about balancing the military and legal response.
We don't go out and just on our own assassinate individuals that we believe are responsible. And so I think a measured response by this country is important, considering who all is not only responsible, but the ultimate result that's going to come about from that response.
We're an open society, and so if you start reading my mail, I get really upset about it. But on the other hand, if there's a legitimate need to monitor somebody who has a potential threat to us, we have proper procedures to get authority to put a bug on their phone or monitor their email, and we've got to start doing that more aggressively.
This is the equivalent of war to former United States Vice President Walter Mondale. While he says he never thought he'd see anything like this, he says we must remain calm.
One of the things we've got to remember is that we're a free nation. We're an open society. One of our great strengths has always been that we persevere in freedom despite adversity. And one of the challenges here is going to deal harshly with these kinds of problems while yet retaining our openness and our freedom.
Mr. Mondale says once we find out who is responsible for the attacks, we must go at them with, quote, everything we got.